What's going on, you guys? Slim back here with a new video today, and today, you guys, I have my top 5 cards to pick up from Blazing Vortex, my personal pickups. If you guys are new here, consider subscribing, hit that notification bell. You guys will be notified whenever I upload. You'll also be notified when I stream over on Twitch. Links in the description. While you're down in the description, consider joining my Discord server. We have a really wholesome, ever-growing community there. If you're going to purchase any of these cards, and of course you probably will, because these are new cards from Blazing Vortex to beef up your decks or do whatever, or you just want to purchase cards in general, use that TCG player link in the description below as well. A portion of what you spend goes back to the channel, helps me out, and I really do appreciate it. And last but not least, if you want to further support me in the channel, consider becoming a member or joining my Patreon. While I'm at it, I'd like to welcome my newest Patreon, Nolan Amos. Thank you for joining, bro. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoy all the bonus awards and stuff like that are over on Patreon. With all that out of the way, you guys, these are my personal top 5, and they're all basically generic cards. And the reason why I chose generic cards is, why am I going to choose archetype stuff if you're not specifically going to play the actual cards? The first couple cards I'm going to mention, I wanted to mention a couple because there are some extra cards that I do want to pick up, but these are specific for certain decks that I personally play. Maybe you play them as well. I'm going to mention them really quick, and then we're going to get into my actual top 5. So the first one is, of course, the Virtual World cards. The copy of Tutu and the copy of Zwanwu, I think. The Virtual World Gate. The Trap and the Monster, you already know. The reason why these cards are so good, I have a Virtual World deck. A lot of people probably have a Virtual World deck. It's very, very cheap to pick up. Beauty of these cards is that they just make the deck better. The Trap card is a Monster Reborn, and the Tutu is literally a level 6 that you can normal summon if you control psychic monsters. It just helps. You needed another level 6 in the deck. That's why you play it. I believe they're only one-ofs. I looked at the list in Japan. I don't even think you max out on these cards. I don't really see the point, but you just add them to the deck and it just makes the deck better. So I'm just excited to try them out and see what level of consistency it already adds to the Virtual World deck. So super excited for that. And then the other one is just kind of dumb, but I want it anyway. I really want Eldritch, the Mad Golden Lord, and of course the spell card, the 7 Cities of the Golden Land. I don't know if you guys have read this fusion. Like, this is like a super poly target, don't get me wrong, for the Eldritch matchup, but just if you're playing Eldritch in general, literally you make it with an Eldritch monster or a level 5 or higher, and a level 5 or higher zombie monster. It becomes Eldritch the Golden Lord while it's on the field, so it works with your traps like your Honk and your Bonk, and literally it can't be destroyed by battle or card effects. You contribute 1 zombie monster, then target 1 phase of monster your opponent controls, take control of it, but it cannot attack or activate its effects this turn. You can only use the effect once per turn. Not that great, but it's 3,800 attack, 3,500 defense. It's just kind of cheesy because it's Eldritch. That's why. Anyways, on to the top 5, you guys. So these will just be kind of in no order, but at number 5, I have Underdog. Now, you guys should have seen this coming. A lot of people have been talking about this card. There's a lot of positivity, a lot of negativity. I've already seen people opening the boxes. Like, I'm sure if you guys went to sneak peek, you guys will see this video prior to when the set is mass released. But this card is just a continuous trap card that reads, during your opponent's turn, negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent controls. During your turn, negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent controls. During your opponent's turn, negate the effects of all face-up monsters you control. Now, that's pretty interesting because, like, literally you can just, I don't know, like, literally you can just negate a bunch of stuff, and like, it sounds really weird in theory, like the way it's designed. Like, think about it, like, on your turn it negates the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent controls, but then it's vice versa. It works like that for your opponent, but it lets you play. So that's why I kind of like that card, is that it lets you play and it'll just negate everything that's in your way. Like I said, it is a double-sided sword, but a lot of times if you can negate everything, it'll help you like push through what you need to do, and that's pretty important. So I'm interested to see what decks are actually going to play this. I'm not personally sure, but it's definitely a card I wanted to include because it's quite a unique card. I don't think we have a lot of cards that are like this, especially one that kind of is like a double-sided sword. You really have to think about when you're playing it. Like, on your opponent's turn, cool, I can play through stuff. On my on my turn, I can play through stuff. On my opponent's turn, they could possibly play through my stuff. So you really gotta be careful with what deck you're playing this in. If you have a bunch of hand traps and stuff, so you can stop stuff while your field is kind of just null and void, but if you put up a bunch of big monsters, it might actually work out. So I wanted to mention it because it's one of those generic cards, and again, this whole list is generic, so I had to mention them regardless. Next, I have Greater Polymerization. Now, this card, I literally mention this because it's generic for any deck that would fusion summon, and the decks that come to mind are actually Thunder Dragons. Shout out to Colossus, I miss you so much. But anyways, this wouldn't even be with Colossus. This is literally for Titan. You literally use 3 or more monsters from your hand or field, and even though Thunder Dragon Fusion is technically better because you just recycle your stuff, what this does is it makes it so that it cannot be destroyed by card effects, and if it attacks its defense position monster, you inflict piercing. Titan is 3,200. That's a big boy, and then you literally slap slap a matrix on it to make it 37. That's pretty crazy. There's also, you can try this out in Prank Kids, you can try this out in Heroes, Fluffles, like all these decks come to mind. Any kind of fusion deck kind of comes to mind. And just for that reason, I just want to see what it does. It's probably going to be like a one of in most of these decks, but it's very interesting because it lets you do more with your fusion monster than you ever could before. The fact that it can't be destroyed by card effects is actually pretty crazy. And I really am anxious to see what Prank Kids players, what Thunder Dragon players, what Hero players, Fluffle players, etc., what all these fusion players will do with this card, because I think it has good application. I'm really anxious to see what they decide to do with it in the future. So I had to mention it. It's generic enough. There's no reason not to. Next, I have got the Heavenly Zephyr Miradora. Now, this card is interesting because it's like a hand trap, and it doesn't seem like it's that amazing, but I really feel this is a card that you want to get right now, and you want to hold it, just kind of like a stock. You just want to hold it and watch it actually prosper, hopefully. So, for people that don't know, it's a level 7 on 2000 attack, 2600 defense. Activation effects of this card cannot be negated. That's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. That first line of text is amazing. If your opponent special summons a monster with 2000 or more attack from the extra deck, there are a lot of cards that do start like that, but do be warned that a lot of link claiming starts lower than that, so that's what I'm saying. I don't really know if that will happen as much, but this could be good in certain matchups. You special summon this card from your hand. If this card is special summoned, you target one face-up monster that was special summoned from the extra deck. Neither player can activate that monster's effect while this monster's face up on the field. So basically, they summon something from the extra deck 2000 or more, you special summon this, you negate that monster, they can't use its effect. Pretty cool. I actually think this card is going to have application in the long run of the game, and as the formats change, it might just come up more. It's definitely interesting for sure, like the fact that it can come out, and the fact that it can't be negated, and the fact that it just can turn off anything. It's actually really good against Makaba. Like, that's kind of scary, actually. I'm not gonna lie. It's also a wind. I don't know if that really comes up, but it's pretty cool. Not gonna lie. It's definitely something that I would pick up. I'd pick up a set if they're cheap, and then just hold on to it. Just hold on to it and see if it'll come up in any format, and you'd be surprised. Like, pick them up early. Pick all these cards up early while they're cheap, because why would you ever want to wait on something generic as these cards I'm mentioning, and then later on they're expensive, and it's just like, damn it, I feel dumb. So yeah, I highly think you guys should get that one. Next, of course, these last two you already know are going to make this list. I've got Underworld Goddess of the Closed World, yeah, whatever. She won Underworld cards. Okay, it's a Link 5. 4+ effect monsters. So a lot of people were saying this. Extra deck's pretty open these days, so you kind of got the room to play it. Now, what I like about this card, what really spoke to me, so at first I thought it said just 4+ effect monsters. I mean, I got 4 monsters on the board. But the first line of text says you can also use one monster your opponent controls as material to link summon this card. That's actually crazy. That means you can just take something. It doesn't target. You literally just take something away off the board of your opponent. If you have 3 monsters, then you literally just take something and you literally just make this. Now think about it. You have to make a link monster just to get this up to link 5, but think about it. Like if you have a link 2, and then you have a link 2, a monster, you take one of your opponent's monsters. That's actually pretty good, because that means you literally can take a problem off the board and then summon this. So what this card says is, if this card is link summoned, you can negate the effects of all other face-up monsters your opponent currently controls. That's crazy. That's a blanket effect. This link summon card is unaffected by your opponent's activated effects unless they target this card. So you basically have to target it if you even want to deal with it. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect that special summons a monster from the graveyard, you can negate the activation. That comes up. I mean, Drytron, stuff like that, it does come up. This card is also 3000 attack, so that's pretty cool. And I mean, a Link 5 is nuts. Like, its arrows are pretty good too. They like point everywhere. So I'm really anxious to see what this card does. I highly suggest you guys just pick up even one copy. Just pick up one copy. Have it. Again, these are cards you want to just have. Put them in a utility box, like I've stressed about so many cards in this game, and then just hold on to it. And when it comes up, I mean, you got it. Like, it's gonna be a little expensive on pre-release, as you guys have already seen, but it's gonna go down, and then pick it up when it's at a cheaper level. And like, literally, this card is gonna be good in the future. So it could even be good now. Like, we'll see if people actually play with it, but I think the card has potential, so there's no reason not to pick it up. This set doesn't have a lot of great things going for it. I mean, look at War Rocks, look at some of these other archetypes and stuff they put out. At least there's something generic like this that's really good, so I gotta mention it. And last but not least, if you didn't know it was Pot of Prosperity, I don't know what to tell you. Like, this card is ridiculous. This card is insane. I absolutely love this card. What can I honestly say that is honestly bad about this? Like, I think this card is just amazing. Banish 3 or 6 face down, you choose, and then excavate that many. You're telling me I can dig for 3 or dig for 6. Doesn't limit me out of special summoning. Its drawbacks are same as Extrav and then half the battle damage. Whatever. I'm digging 3 or 6. I'm usually digging 6. This card is incredible, and I can't stress it enough. I know it's expensive. I know it's going to be expensive, but pick it up when you see a good price. Do not sleep on this card. It'll be one of those cards that's going to be expensive in the future if you don't get it early, so I highly suggest you pick it up. It is amazing. And that's it, you guys. Short and sweet and to the point. Those are my top 5 cards from Blazing Vortex. Extra cards that I just personally want because I like silly things like Virtual World and Eldritch, and I really think that this set, while it is underwhelming, there are still some gems in every set. You just got to take the time to actually look into it, and you'll actually find some good cards that you can pick up that are generic. But those are my thoughts, you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Are there any cards that you're picking up from this set? If you're picking up archetype stuff, awesome. These are just generic cards I wanted to mention. I'm sure there's plenty of other cards. This was just the list I put together. When I looked at the card set list, I was like, okay, these are the cards I'm grabbing. I'm going to tell you guys about it, and that's exactly what we did. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, you guys know what to do. Give it one of these. You guys literally just been killing it lately. You guys are awesome. I really do appreciate it. Let me know any other cards that you're picking up from Blazing Vortex that I didn't mention. Cards you're picking up specifically. If they're archetype, cool. If they're more generic, let me know, because I'm sure there's plenty of other cards, like I said, that I didn't mention. But those are my thoughts on today's topic, you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. Give it a thumbs up, and thank you for watching.